Namaskar, hello and welcome viewers. You're watching this special presentation of Sansad TV, Samvaad, with your host Kriti Mishra. And joining us today is a very special guest, Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs Minister, Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri. Hardeep Singh Puri, a politician, former diplomat and author. He was inducted into the Council of Ministers as Minister of State Independent Charge for Housing and Urban Affairs in September 2017. He was given additional charge for the Ministry of Civil Aviation and Minister of State for Commerce and Industry in 2019. He was sworn in as Union Minister in July 2021 and currently is the Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs and Petroleum and Natural Gas. A 1974 batch Indian Foreign Service officer, he served as the permanent representative of India to the United Nations in Geneva and New York and served additionally in Tokyo and Colombo. He fulfilled his foremost passion of politics for serving the people with his retirement after 39 years in diplomacy when he got the opportunity to enter the political mainstream and join the BJP in 2013. Sir, welcome to Sansad TV and thank you so much for joining us. Sir, let's begin talking about the Petroleum Ministry first. So for the last few years, all of us have been reeling under global uncertainties. There was COVID-19 pandemic, there's Russia-Ukraine war. Despite those challenges, the fuel prices in our country remained constant for the last 2 years. How did the government navigate that challenge?
Why look at domestic prices? Look at international prices. I have looked at prices in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, UK, Canada, US. Increase in terms of percentage in petrol in India in 2 years. In the month of June 21 to June 23, India increases 2.36%. And you know, my friends, I feel sorry for them because their research departments either are uneducated. They say, नहीं बाकी देशों में तो कम है. देश आप बगल वाले लीजिए. हमारे यहाँ दाम बढ़े 2.36%. पाकिस्तान में दाम बढ़ा 50%, 50.83. बांग्लादेश में 30.11, श्रीलंका में 79.61, नेपाल में 42.39. अब इसको छोड़िए, लेट्स कम टू द डेवलप्ड वर्ल्ड. हमारे यहाँ 2% चेंज हुआ है इन द 2 ईयर पीरियड बिटवीन जून 21 एंड जून 23. फ्रांस में 22.67%, कनाडा में 24.17%, यूएसए में 30.15%. ये पेट्रोल का बता रहा हूँ. मैं डीजल पे भी आ जाता हूँ. हमारे यहाँ 2 साल में दाम बढ़ा 4.97%, श्रीलंका में बढ़ा 130.65%, पाकिस्तान में बढ़ा 40.81%, यूएसए में बढ़ा 29.30%, कनाडा में 21.10%, स्पेन में 16.38%. कहाँ हमारा 4% और वहाँ पे 30%. So I am saying the government headed by the Honorable Prime Minister has gone out of its way to navigate turbulence in the global economy by ensuring that petrol, diesel and cooking gas and natural gas are supplied at the most reasonable rates. Now, if you were to ask me a question, Kriti ji, ki, can't you do more? Dekhiye, an ideal situation from my point would be that we would supply it virtually free. But we are neither an oil producing country in absolute terms. So what have we done? Increased our E&P on oil, navigated the global turbulence in such a manner that we have bought from the cheapest source, which is reflected every day. As you know, 60 crore people, 6 crore people, 60 million, my apologies, go to the petrol bunk to fill up. We have ensured prices have not gone up, number one, in petrol and diesel. There's been in the gas also, I think last year, there was one increase in 50 rupees on one day when the global prices gone up from 400 to 700, 400 to 600 something, then to 700. And yet we've navigated. How? Total sensitivity which the Honorable Prime Minister has to our common person, the consumer. The empathy he feels for those who are most affected by prices. The fact that he gives 9 crore 60 lakhs cylinders, connections to people under the Ujjwala scheme. The fact that during the pandemic he gave 3 cylinders free to every person. and even now, a 200 rupees direct to the beneficiary subsidy is being given per cylinder to every beneficiary. Now, how do you do this? Political maturity. You have avoided the trap in which a lot of countries roughly in the same situation as India found themselves in. Today, you can hold your head high and say, India has moved from being the 10th largest economy in the world to the 5th largest economy, and the Prime Minister can say with confidence, after his third term, we will be the third largest, or during his third term, we will be the third largest economy. And energy is a crucial determinant of your economic growth. Our growth, our demand is increasing at 3 times the global average, and we are able to do it. We consume 5 million barrels of crude oil in a day, roughly thereabouts. Earlier, we had roughly 800,000 to 1 million barrels a day being supplied by 5. The composition of the suppliers has changed. Earlier, we used to import from 27 countries. Now we're importing from 39 countries. Countries which did not appear on our screen because they were what we could call de minimis suppliers, suddenly have become important suppliers. So I think if you have this seriousness of purpose, clearly defined objective, even at the height of the most difficult circumstances, there was no energy shortage in this country. So we have been able to face the trilemma of availability, affordability, and sustainability with a degree of success. And with all humility, I say this is one of the most successful navigation of a sensitive sector of the economy by the Honorable Prime Minister.
So you're talking about sustainability, and ethanol blended petrol is a very important component of that. Now, 1,600 retail outlets are already selling E20 petrol. Sir, how do you plan to increase it, and how is it benefiting the farmers of our country?
You know, I think you've hit the nail right on the head. You've talked about 1,600 retail outlets dispensing E20. That is petrol blended with 20%. You know, there was a time we couldn't get to the 5% target. You know, I remember when I was a civil servant, I was assigned as ambassador to Brazil. The then government had a target of 5% blending in 15 of our states and union territories, only 5%. And we ended in 2014 under the previous government with a total blending success rate of 1.4%. Today, we brought that 1.4% to 10% as per the target, rather 5 months earlier than the target. The target was November 2022, we did it 5 months earlier. We had to roll out E20, which we did soon thereafter in the first few months of 2023. Aapne jaise kaha, at 1,600 retail outlets, E20 is available, and the movement forward is to have, by the end of 2025, all petrol pumps in the country to have E20. But I think an even more significant achievement of the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister is that we've already moved from the hesitancy of 5%, hesitancy of 10%, hesitancy of 20%. Our mindset is already changing and looking beyond 20%. How will that happen? Greater ethanol production. I know we have a setback once in a while, but that will happen. Sometimes you start with a target, little setback. I'm very confident we'll be able to resolve this. All the impediments which come on the way, there are always competing interests. Right. There are people who will say, you know, you make ethanol only from sugar because the sugar producers will benefit. There are people who will say you make it from maize and broken this thing. There are people who will say, no, let's go for technology, make it only from second generation, from agricultural waste, from or parali as you call it, or you make it from bamboo. But look, the beauty of the Indian scheme devised by the Honorable Prime Minister is that we have a variety of feeds going into it. We will get to the 20% target in a year and a half time, we'll finish it. Then we will go further. Right. But our roadmap will be determined because, you know, as you register a few steps forward, you feel confident. There is economic viability, the contributors of the different feeds. I can tell you one of the most satisfying statistics I am very fond of citing. When we completed 10% of ethanol blending, madam, we saved 41,000 crores on the import bill. Because of that, we were able to pay 42,000 crores to our agriculturists, to our farmers. It stands to reason 10% at those prices. 20% blending when we do, it should be, if prices are within the same range, double the amount. So I think the movement forward, no matter which way you look at it, India has done well on availability, affordability by and large, and the sustainability front. Not only biofuels, compressed biogas, 5,000 Satat this thing. Do you know we have moved from 14 or 17% waste reprocessing to about 76% now. Much of that waste goes to MRF, it goes to electricity, and that also produces energy.
Sir, another major achievement, of course, has been in the area of piped gas connections. From 25 lakh in 2014 to 1 crore now. How did you achieve that feat?
First of all, let me say that all these targets, they were realistically set, but I think initially they were conservative. And I think as you move forward, and this is what Honorable Prime Minister's leadership has done, when we do something, we are not speaking in the air. We are speaking on the basis of what we've done. So let's look at both gases. One is LPG, and let's look at piped natural gas. One is used as a cooking medium in individual households, and a percentage of it, I think about 10% or so, is used in commercial establishment. In that cooking gas, 10% which is used in commercial establishments, the price determination is done purely on the basis of the flow of market forces. The entities which are importing, producing, they see what their cost is, cost plus, and they sell to the commercial. But 90% of that, let me give you some statistics which will, I think, tell you the figure. Madam, in 2014, if I remember correctly, we had something like 14 crore connections. Today, we have close to between 32 and 33 crore connections. Out of that, we have given 9 crore 60 lakhs through Ujjwala. Now you come to piped natural gas, and you're absolutely right. You are talking about raising from 25 lakhs to 1 crores, but I want to give you another figure. The government decided, after doing its sums and homework, we want to take the share of natural gas from about 6% in our economy to 60%, 15%. Yes. What does that mean? It means that you require a investment of $60 billion. Where is that investment of $60 billion being done? Where is it taking place? That's the beauty of the whole thing. If you look at, we have liquefaction plants on our coastline. We have, I think, 7. We are building another 11. Okay? Then we are building more and more pipeline for taking this around. Then who is benefiting? You know, in between when natural gas prices went up totally, I was a little worried. I said, with the automobile sector which uses CNG, no. Interestingly, they are going on because they have the confidence that the government supply ability will continue. Then, if you look at piped natural gas, how many kilometers did we have? We had, I think, about 14,000 kilometers in 2014. Our target is 33,000 kilometers by 2030. We are already at 22,500. So all that investment is going in there. You know, there used to be a debate earlier when I had initially started as a student. Is gas something to be encouraged, or is it something to be discouraged? Today, the prevailing wisdom is that gas, natural gas, is a bridging fuel, and that everyone who used to talk that language earlier now are saying we must encourage natural gas, which means CNG, PNG, as against the gas on cylinder. So my answer to you is that the plans are in place, the targets are realistically ambitious, and as Modi ji's government has demonstrated, and he through personal example, once we set out to do a target, we achieve it.
So let's talk about the metro connectivity. India now boasts of third largest metro network in the world, from 4 cities in 2014 to almost 20 cities now and counting What are the expansion plans?
Madam, I have stopped counting whether we are fifth, fourth or third. I'll tell you why. There's one country in the world which admittedly has operational metro lines which we will take, we are not even targeting that. But the next country, number 2, is the United States, which has I think about 1500 kilometers of metro. Today, I think Honorable Prime Minister introduced, I think, or inaugurated 11 kilometers in Pune yesterday. Together, what you are talking about, 20 cities is going up by the day. We have more than 860 kilometers already operational, but more than that, we have another 1000 kilometers in advanced stages of construction. So we have timelines. What are those timelines? Those timelines are, you approve phase 1, phase 2, it will be delivered on time. By and large, the projects are being done within the timelines, within the budget estimates. Now, metros are capital intensive projects. Now, I'll give you one example. Delhi Metro, which is one of the metro lines which we are really proud of. When did it start? It started in Vajpayee ji's time. But in Vajpayee ji's time, it started in 2002. Now, if you look at the Delhi metro system, total will be what in the capital region? 250 kilometers, 256 kilometers. Do you know how much of a loan we had to take? About 27,000 crores, because this is a capital intensive. Now, metro projects rightly are in the best spirit of cooperative federalism, center and the state with financing from outside. Therefore, I think we held our line. When I had just become a minister and the Delhi Metro had not experienced a price increase, you know, there is a provision for fare fixation committees to be appointed every 7-8 years to price to be then revised. It should be done more, it should be done 1 or 2 years, but it hadn't done for 8 years. And the fare fixation committee had recommended an increase in 2 parts. The first part had taken place in May of 2017. I became a minister in September. It had to be in October. So today, Modi ji, thanks to the visionary and decisive leadership, can turn around and say, we will be the second largest metro system in the world. And I say that with confidence. Because the other countries involved, who had more or still have a little more, Japan, Korea, United States, they are not going to increase because they've already reached saturation point. We started a little late, but we are going to soon catch up.
Sir, let's end this conversation with urban infrastructure. Under your Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, there are several schemes and programs and also missions. For instance, there's Smart City, there's Swachh Bharat, there's also Pradhan Mantri Awas, there's Swanidhi. So it is expected by 2030, half of India's population would be living in urban centers. What are our plans?
See, you and I, when we engage in this conversation, we are starting with some fundamental premises that our current population, which is urban, is slightly ahead of 30%. Well, that's on the basis of the 2011 census. So, where will we be in 2030? We would be close, I think, to about 40% of the urban population, not half, but 40%. That's my view, but we can discuss that at the current rate of urbanization, which means you'll have some 600 million people living in urban state. What does it mean? It means an entire revamping of your urban space. It means structures built earlier to be built, rebuilt. Because let's take your governance structures. Kartavya Path, new parliament. When were these built? They were built in 1922, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the parliament building was started in 21, 22 and completed in 26, 27. Conceptualization started in 1906. That parliament building built in the 1920s, has been utilized by you where we are sitting today, and we are in the year 2023. So 100 years. The next structure you are building is not for the next 100 years. Hopefully with the technology and more seismic zone sensitivity, we are building for the next 150 to 200 years. Delhi has a population of somewhere in the vicinity of 2 crores, 20 million. It's a big megapolis. I think 1 crore 30 lakh people in Delhi, either through Jahan Jhuggi Wahi Makan, or through the rebuilding of the DDA colonies, or through land pooling, will have new places. So, are we ready for it? In my book, thanks to Modi ji's inspirational guidance, there is no such thing as are you ready for it? You have to be ready for it. And that readiness will come. It's not that this old building will go away. No, it's part of our history, it's part of our heritage, it's part of our culture. We go into the new building, we will refurbish this, we'll make it stronger, and as the mother of democracies, we will utilize this for parliament and democracy related wider ecosystem which will operate out of here, or new museums out of North Block and South Block. That is the real story of New India, the vibrance, the new emerging New India.
Well, on that note, Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri, thank you so much for talking to us and sharing that perspective with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Goodbye for now from my side.